Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the second block of the 48 hours build. I am Dieter, and I'm here in the studio with John.
How are you? It's been a while, Data. We've had some interactions on, Facebook and stuff, but I haven't spoken to you in quite a while. It's good to see you again, mate.
Same here, John, same here. I know that the time delay, of course, also makes it very difficult to have a good interaction.
Mm,
I
sure
mean,
does.
I tried to reach out to you a few times regarding a collection that I'm doing on firefighter patches, but we never got to the point that we actually could talk about it. But I know that's not always easy because of it.
You're right. I do need to. Yeah, I'll chase it up. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, it's been a while. Hmm.
Well, it's okay. Well, in any case, dear ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to apologize that the intro was not exactly what we were supposed to do. For the simple reason that some of the videos have not been uploaded to this blog, but we'll correct that as we go. Um, in any case, we will make the best of it as we proceed for the time being, given, of course, that there will be people that will be joining us live in the studio or during the chat during this very nocturnal hour here at our time. John, just a quick question. What time is it right now in Australia?
It is Sydney time. It's just hit 1 p.m.
1 p.m. So that's, let's see, 1 p.m. Yeah, you're definitely like 10 hours,
10 hours
uh,
ahead. Yeah,
10 hours ahead. Yeah. But it also goes to show that we are definitely an international crowd.
absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm. Well, with no further ado, let's go to what we're actually doing right here. And let's first of all show you what we have been building. And John, if you please, I would like to give you the honors of kicking this off.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so what I'm what I've chosen to build this year is FX's 148 scale P51 Mustang, not as the American one or the skins that are in the box. So what I've chosen to do is an aircraft from Korea. So Mustangs are the Royal Australian Air Force and Royal New Zealand Air Force. So in this, Australia is the only country outside the US that built Mustangs, and
Hmm.
only four of the ones built in Australia went to war. Yeah, had active service, I should say, and they ended up in the Korean War just over 50 years ago now. So what I've chosen to build is one of the Mustangs from the Korean War. However, it's not the Australian built one. It's I'm looking for the photo. There we go. So the one at the bottom here, it's just standard silver overall, but it's got the red, white, and blue spinner. So it'll be the same as a roundel, but viewed from the front, it'll be the roundel. So a quite boring looking as Mustangs go. I think these Australian ones from the Korean conflict, and basically all of them are some of the most boring Mustangs you've ever seen. They all look pretty much the same. But I've got photos of these deploying in heavy snow in Korea and stuff. So that's why I've chosen that. It's well, a simple aircraft, simple scheme, but it's historical for me in that I served in 77 Squadron. It's the squadron that I was discharged from the Air Force just on 2 years ago now. And I volunteer at Fighter World, a museum down the road with outside the Air Force base with fighter jets there. And we have a cabinet with Korean War, let's say artifacts, because they actually are at this stage. They've become historic. So they got documents, medals, accounts, all that stuff. A copy of the commendation from the president of South Korea, all that sort of stuff. So I hope to, if it looks good enough, I hope to put it in the cabinet with that sort of stuff. We'll see how it turns out. But yeah, the clock is ticking. So what I'm up to now, my bench is a mess, so you'll bear with me. So yesterday, I started at my local time at 7:30 last night. So the start time for the show, but in my time zone. So I built up the cockpit. As you see, it's still a couple of bits to go. A decal on the instrument panel, bit of a wash and that sort of stuff on the seat and all that sort of stuff. That's just almost ready to drop in the fuselage halves. They've been painted up. I've got a couple of decals in the sidewalls. Once they're together, then it's going to be, like any other aircraft build, go forward, put the fuselage together, the wings on and stuff like that, and then look at painting it. So that's me. What about you, Dieter?
Okay, thank you very much, John. That was quite elaborate, and you indeed did make a good progress. Um, and I'm really looking forward to see how this is going to turn out, especially because you're going to make a Korean P-51. That's always a forgotten war somehow. So it's really
Hmm.
nice to actually have a theme in this as well. So thank you very much, John. And then basically it's going to be up to me. Well, first of all, I have been taking the opportunity of the dead of night of first of all finishing this beauty, which is a 1/48 scale F-16AM in the colors of the Belgian Air Force solo display 2021-2022, aka the Dark Falcon. This is the Heller kit, although I must say it's actually the Kinetic kit reboxed, and as a result also a bit cheaper than the Kinetic kit. And almost every stripe that you see is basically a decal. There are only a few pieces that I had to mask off. She's almost complete. I was so close to the end of the build that I was like, okay, I'm gonna just finish it so that I can put that aside and leave it to dry, and then on the second dead block, perhaps work on getting the gloss paint coat over there, so that she also will be nice and shiny for the future. And when that is done, then at least one of the 4 1/48 scale F-16s that I'm going to be building with a special livery will be done. And that brings me to my actual theme. What I'm going to be doing is something that I already planned a bit ahead, to the point that I'm actually going to do a stuff that I'm not quite used to. So first of all, let me introduce you to the main showpiece, which is currently drying a bit because I had to put some microfiller on it and a bit of black primer. And it is this guy, which is a 1/350th scale nuclear-powered Russian icebreaker. You can see it by the shape of the bow, that she's definitely meant to actually ride on the ice and use her weight to crack it down. So this is the Zvezda 1/350 kit of the Arctica. But I'm gonna change it up a bit, so she's not gonna be in the typical Russian colors that she normally is. She's gonna have a black upper hull section. She's gonna have a blood red top section, which is now used by many of the military used nuclear icebreakers of the Russian Navy. And she's gonna have a large shark mouth on the bow to actually give the impression of a predator, if you like. She's going to be sitting in a piece of styrofoam that looks like broken up ice with a resin wake behind her. And on the opposite end of that ice field, there will be an SSBN, a Typhoon class missile boat that is stuck in the ice and that the Arctica has to free in the same scale.
Oh, have you dropped out? Well, that's a problem. Looks like it's me alone here. Hopefully Dieter will be back in a moment. So we've got a comment. I can't click on it, unfortunately. I don't have the power. But I see your comment, Dave. I'll wait till Dieter's back. That's a shame. Anyway, I'll just plug on with this if you don't mind. It's good kits, these Airfix ones. I speak about them on occasion, how I do like them a lot. But the fit in this is just wonderful. It's quite a complex interior because this is the only Mustang model that I'm aware of that has the proper Meredith effect, as they call it, the radiators for the oil and the glycol under there. The Meredith effect was basically a Venturi. Oh, he's back. So the air going through the radiators with a flap at the back there, you can adjust that. But there's no hindrance to airflow. In fact, it gives a little boost with the hot air going out the back of the Venturi, a little boost of forward thrust. So this FX kit is the only kit I'm aware of with the correct, the full radiators and everything else. And when it's built up, admittedly, you won't see it because it's only through that little gap there. But hidden at the back there is the actual radiator. There's two of them. So good on Airfix for putting that in. It took North American years to work out the best angles and everything else for the and shape for the radiator and everything. And I think it took Airfix the same amount of time. But yeah, people don't give Airfix enough credit because I think it's spot on. Yeah. So there we are. You're back, Dieter.
Yeah, I'm back. Please apologize because my USB cable that is connecting my computer to my USB hub has been acting up a few times already to the point that it basically pulls both my microphone and my webcam out of action.
Ah.
But not to worry, I'm back. Thanks for picking up, John. So, as I was saying, the idea is definitely that I'm going to be out of my comfort zone for a great way. Because if I have the dimensions right, I will basically have like a meter long in terms of the diorama size to about 40 to 45 centimeters wide, just so I can fit in both ships and then see how that goes. I have never done that before, even if I have a bit of experience with pouring resin, with liquid and transparent resin, because I made a few jewels for Nia with plants in it. So I know exactly how the thing works, but to that scale, it's going to be massive. Not to mention the fact that the styrofoam that I will be using is pretty porous. So there's a very good chance that I will have to deal first with a lot of porous filter, or how do you say it in English, just to make sure that it doesn't start to absorb too much of the resin. If that works, we're gonna see, because this is gonna be a project for a few months at least. So my primary goal will be at the end of the 48 hours to be sufficiently ahead with the Arctica, and at least present you a very unusual kit of an unusual theme that I hope will delight most of you. Okay, I see that John has gone mute for a second. So I'm guessing that he's using airbrush or something, which will bring me to, first of all, thank both David and Mikey for joining us again in the chat. As I said to John earlier, we're going to see just how many people are going to come in for this block. If it's just going to be the two of us, plus the two of you that are keeping us company, we might bring this to a close a bit sooner to give us both a chance to rest a bit. Well, me in particular, perhaps.
Yeah.
And allow for Miranda and Stefan to pick this up in about 3.5 hours. If we just say, okay, let's take a breather, because as you might have guessed, John has already been at this a bit longer than we are, considering the fact that he's like 10, respectively 11 hours ahead of us.
Yeah. Um, that's right. And also, I am going to a concert in town tonight. So it starts, I think it's 8 p.m. But I'll need to leave here, I think, probably about 6 p.m., which would be about 4 p.m. your time. Actually, no, that's very wrong. No, that'd be right. 4 p.m. your time.
4 p.m. So that's in about 45 minutes.
Okay, I'm very wrong. I've got to work this out. I'll think about it.
Let's see, 4
Basically, an hour
p.m.
before we're scheduled to go off air. That was. Oh, I'm trying to remember now. Oh, because we were scheduled to go till I think 7 p.m. your time.
Yeah, that was originally the plan. So if I count 10 hours
Ah,
back, let's
10
see.
a.m.
So
Yeah.
that's 6 a.m. in our case.
Yes. 6 a.m. Sorry. Yes, but yeah, as I say, I'll need to probably disappear an hour before we're scheduled to go.
Okay, no problem.
If we're going to be here.
In here for that long.
Yeah. All right. I've got a couple of decals to do. So, instrument panel. There we go.
Mhm. Okay, and while
Turn.
John is tackling the decals, I'm gonna put in the comments. And we start with David Cummins, who is asking if my bacon and egg sandwich arrived. I sent it half an hour ago, and yes, it did. Thank you very much.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. Mikey says, "Oh no, it's Marley again. God help us all."
Yeah.
Followed by David, who suddenly noticed that I was out. Marley flying solo. Wildlife beware.
Yes, there is that.
Hmm. But not to worry. About half a minute later, I was back. Oh shit! Oh shit! That Dieter's back. Quick, everyone, best behavior now.
Oh dear. Um, so there's a quick story with that. During Bearded Veterans live stream last night, one of the people watching mentioned there's a place in Japan called Oshita,
Hmm.
and there's a sign near the bridge crossing a river or something or other there, Oshita Bridge. And I just got the giggles. So for the next half hour or so, everyone's just coming up with these comments, and I just giggling like a schoolboy. It was quite embarrassing, really. I think
Well,
Mikey lost a couple of subscribers.
Well, just to put it into perspective, John, I was in the same chat, and Julian Hall was the one who actually started this, so that's correct. You had the giggles, you weren't alone. The only difference was you couldn't hear me, but my colleagues at work, and thank God there were only like 4 or 5 people, they definitely heard me giggling, and they came over and they were like, "Why are you giggling?" And I was trying to explain the oh shit joke, and they it took a bit longer for them to actually grasp the concept. But the moment they did, basically the entire floor was laughing. So
Yeah, it's funny.
you were not alone.
Well, that's comforting. Ah, this is funny. Winter is coming, and I've got a Christmas plate here that I use for decals.
Yeah, well, I'm building a solo display aircraft who also are also put in storage when winter is coming, so it kind of fits the theme.
Yeah. Where are we? Just trying to line this up. There we go.
Right. And I'll continue with the comments. We have David that is saying, "Mikey, long time no see. How the devil are you?" Oh yeah, it was like a half an hour, so don't go there. And Mikey then basically answers, "I'm well, mates. Feels like an eternity, my friends." And apparently, this definitely hit a wrong note with David because he spent the whole time in the dark, holding his knees, rocking back and forth.
Yeah, right. Oh, probably did too.
Yeah.
That
Then
works.
question for John: if you meant 4 a.m. UK time. Well, no, we basically short circuited that. So 4 p.m. his time is in our case 6 a.m. our time, or 5
Oh,
a.m. if you look from UK perspective.
yeah. And Mikey knows full well that I'm baffled daily by time zone changes and trying to keep up.
Yeah, I have the problem with the opposite direction when it comes to American time zones. I keep screwing those up as well. To the point that we also had our Canadian friend that joined in, Mark, and he was hardly in for like 10 minutes, and then suddenly his wife called for shopping.
Oh,
And no, it was not for model kits, unfortunately.
unfortunately.
Yeah. And continuing down the road, we have Mikey who is asking if I told Marley about the legend of Malcolm's pickle.
No.
So, what happened during the last 20 odd minutes of the show of the previous block? We were basically talking about the smell of condiments, foods, preparations, and all that. And he was talking about how there was essentially a vinegar factory in his vicinity. and that they actually do a lot of charity work, and that basically started a creative streak down the line of Oshita. Uh, if Models for Heroes was to sell something to make a profit and have the charity division of said factory step in, how would we call it? And
Yeah.
eventually we settled on Malcolm's Pickle.
Nice.
So that's basically the legend of Malcolm's Pickle in a nutshell.
2, 3, 2. Where does this go? I'm just trying to. So yeah, I've got decals at. So how many? One, two. It's not many. 4, 5, 6. 6 decals that are going on the inside walls of the cockpit here. So I'm just trying to, because there's 2 of them and they look very similar. Some of them are reverse. I'm trying to work out which one's which. 2 and 3. 3 is that one.
Mm-hmm. So while John is making sure that he has the decals in the right order, I want to apologize one more time because Mikey and David joined us in the chat that I won't be able to do the normal routine for this block because for some obscure reasons the videos didn't upload apparently in this block section as well. So I'm basically going to start winging it and talk through it as much as possible, show whatever we can. And I also made a note to remind Miranda that we better check the other blocks as well so that we can correct for that little mistake. Most likely what happened is uh, these blocks were intended to take place like a month ago. For people that are following the story a bit longer, Stefan had basically a rather bad episode due to the unsavory behavior of one of their neighbors. And as a result, we pitted our forces together. We put our heads together with James and John and Malcolm and other people, and looked into how can we help to make sure that the 48 hours marathon can continue. Because as you probably will know, there is a lot riding on it in terms of preserving the Veterans Foundation for the future. And with that said, we basically postponed the whole thing for a month with the intention of seeing, okay, do we have enough people that can actually step in? Yes, we do. And with all that happened around it, nobody actually took into account that the blocks were already made, but the videos weren't uploaded on the other blocks apparently because nobody actually thought of that.
Mm.
So the videos aren't there, the banners aren't there, the images aren't there, except for a few that are happily accepted, so that we can at least show a few things as intended. But unfortunately, it also means that the break music, which is actually quite catchy, will not be shown yet. But I am very convinced that Miranda, when she will read the message, will make sure that we get that situation corrected for the next blocks.
Yeah.
So, the donations, which are the first section regarding the supporting that you can offer scale models for vets, is basically done in a few ways. Because this is concerning the financial donation, here you have on the bottom of your screen how you can do that. When you have access to IBAN, you can simply do a donation to the adjoint IBAN account number. If you don't have that, you can always do it through PayPal to info@theveteranmodelbouw.nl. A little request that I wish to add here is if you do a donation, do it as a friends and family, please, which means that you will pay for the fees, but at least the donation that you will send to us will be the donation you intend for us to get. And of course, you have our greatest thanks for doing so. And that basically brings me to the update of the donations, which are right now not 137.28, but 237.28, because I memorized the amount on the last time that it was checked. So we are definitely on our way. So that's one good thing. Thank you very much for that. But there's
Fantastic.
also another chapter to this, and the fact that I can't show you what I intend to show you is really bugging me, but I think I have a way to get around that. Is the fact that we also have an auction online. And I'm showing you this image of the gavel that goes with the online auction, which you can find on the Facebook page of Stichting Scale Models for Vets. So not Scale Models for Vets Projecten, but Stichting Scale Models for Vets. And I will show you that live in a few seconds, because otherwise I'm going to have the same problem with my decals if I stay out of them too long. There we go. I'm going to show you the auction items, and we can in the same time also benefit from showing you how far they have progressed to this point. So I'm going to go first to the appropriate section. Okay, let's see. Where are they? Online auction. Yes, okay, I got them. So I'm going to share my screen right now, and then I can talk you through this, how this works. So there you have it. So the auction 2024 is open for bidding until December the 1st, 5 p.m. our time. You can make bids with €1 intervals. We do want to remind you, we don't want any messages in there other than saying, okay, this is the amount that I bid. Please do check what is the starting bid, and also check what the current highest bid is before you make an offer. Do also keep in mind that you best not try to bid for more than you can afford. And at the same time also that the potential shipping costs are not included in the amount. So do keep in mind that those will be coming up as well. In the case of people in Belgium that are actually going for this, you will have the opportunity of perhaps getting in touch with me for picking them up and delivering them. Save for one, you'll see which one soon enough. So there are possibilities to make this at least economically sound. Every bit is final, so make sure that you definitely get your response going within the hour after closing the auctions. If not, the next one in line will definitely get the benefit. So we do give you a bit of time to respond, so keep a close eye on how that goes. And of course, you'll see in the live chat when we are closing in to that final hammer strike. With that said, the first item is this very huge box of Italeri's Battle for the Reichstag in 1/72 scale, which comes with the building of the Reichstag you need to paint, vehicles from both Russian and German military, of course, infantry figures from both sides. There is an 88mm flak cannon with the 36 barrel included. And all this comes together in this very, very huge box. So it's definitely a playset worth a pretty penny, and it is offered at €35 starting bid.
It's very good.
Mhm. The second auction is this Darius Miniatures Sceneries 2 or rather World War II. So what we see here is basically a super deformed armored vehicle. It's a resin kit that you still need to assemble and paint, so keep that in mind. Price offering begins at 15 euros. The third auction item is this Panda Models Panda Models MRAP MATV, mine resistant ambush protected uh, armored all-terrain vehicle, 1/35th scale. Price starting bid, excuse me, is 25 euros. These kits are rare nowadays, so if you can get one for this price, definitely don't slip out on it. Item number 4 is this Ryefield Models Tiger 1 Ausführung E, which is a very huge box as well because it's a 1/35th scale Tiger, and for people that are into armor, they know exactly what this means. The price for the starting bid is also 25 euros. Item number 5 is a brand new release by AFV Club. It's this YPR 765 with Pratt anti-tank missile launcher. This is also a 1/35th scale kit and comes in at a starting bid of 40 euros. It's a very nice and very detailed kit, so I can tell you that this price is really low and definitely worth the while. Of course, keeping in mind that this is something for the people that love the Pratt, and of course, this comes with Dutch markings. Item number 6 puts us back to World War II with this Japanese Navy destroyer Yukikaze. 1/350th scale, still in mint condition. The seal is still around the box. And bidding starts at 40 euros. Item number 7 is offered by MJG. I'm saying it right. MJG 3D Studios. Is this 16 centimeters high carnivore, unpainted? So you get what you see on the picture. Starting bid is 20 euros. Item number 8, also offered by the 3D printing studios, designed by Fotismint, is the Undead Dragon, 13.5 centimeters high, which is also currently one of the entries into the 48 hours marathon. So if you want to actually see what this looks like in real life, just check out the album by Monica on the Projectum page. We'll show you that later. Starting bid is 13 euros. It is 13.5 centimeters high, so it definitely doesn't do justice how large this actually is. And then we move to item number 9, which is a complete diorama, as you can see, of the TL Jaeger Flitzer from Ravel. This is a donation done by Bas Laats. So everything that you see in the picture is what you get. You can start the bidding at 15 euros, but do keep in mind that this cannot be shipped. So if you want to get this, you definitely have to make an appointment and collect it yourself. Item number 10 is this ICM AR2 or ARZ hose fire truck from the Russian firefighter division, 1/35th scale, 25 euros starting bid. And then we have item number 11, which is this Italeri 1/72nd scale Antonov AN2. And when I offered this kit up for the auction, I was like, why didn't I choose this one? Because it definitely fits the theme. But too late. She was donated, and I'm not gonna bid on it myself, even if I could, because the starting bid is 7.5 euros. Now I'm gonna keep an eye on this one, anyways, just for the heck of it. But definitely, this is a rare kit and a pleasure to build. So if you want it, you know what to do. And then the final entry, which is this item that is also offered by MJG3D.nl. This is a gift card worth 100 euros for Andrew3D.nl, which is valid for the designing of ships or sci-fi 3D prints bidding starts at 50 euros. So basically, you can get this for half price and still have a great advantage when you order your 3D items from Andrew 3D. This was gifted by MJG 3D Studios earlier during the first block. So this is a very late entry and hoping to get a lot of teasing with this out. And that's it for the auctions.
Some really nice prizes there, or gifts, donations. They're very nice indeed. Oh, I've just realised I've not stuck a part on. I'll go back and correct that now.
Oh, I hear a popping sound. Okay. Oh, I got my technical support in, and thank you very much. Okay,
Very good.
Yeah, I just got the, how shall I put it, the second line from the back office that popped in real quickly and aided out in getting the overlay with the auction items. We have now all the videos that we actually needed. So yes, we are now definitely in business. Thank you very much for the support. Now please get back to bed. Okay. But as I said, yeah, this apparently didn't go as planned, but now it is fixed.
Very good. All right.
Okay. Now let's go back to the comments. Let's see. So we ended with Malcolm's pickle. And then we have David that's asking, there's no Paint Pikachu Black music this block. Well, there wasn't, David, but it was fixed thanks to a quick intervention. Much obliged for that. So we're gonna show this, and then John will understand, hopefully, like Malcolm does, what we actually mean with this Paint Pikachu Black thing. Because the music is from Painted Black by the Rolling Stones. But because of the way that it is composed, it has a certain Pokemon Gotta Catch 'em All vibe. And I wasn't aware of it until Malcolm actually pointed that out. Yeah. And David Cummins is already in the singing mode because I see a Pokemon and I want to paint it black.
Oh.
Now, that said, let's show what this is about.
Okay.
Let's see, where are you? Okay, here we go. Everybody, hold on to your brakes. Here's the break time. And there we go.
Got to catch them all.
Yeah. Or, as Mikey puts it, it's a sort of Bollywood meets Pokemon tune, isn't it, with that sitar?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hopefully it's
you
not too
don't.
bright here. I've got my back door open because it's fairly warm here. It's like 27 degrees or so. So, I'm letting the flies in, but that'll do. And we've got a dog barking next door too.
That's no problem. Right here, it's like 4 degrees. It's an open sky, so it's very chilly out there, but we are warm and cozy.
Hmm. Grey green, 305. I'm looking for a colour. Can't see it.
Mhm.
I've made a mess of my paints last night. Where is it? I'm looking for the interior green, the colour of painted everything. Maybe it's over with the airbrush. Be with.
Mhm. Okay, I got one final message from the support division before they're gonna close up shop again. They checked the blocks and the video issue should be solved. So we have all the banners, we have all the video clips, we have all the material that we need. So that's okay, nice. And also a small update coming up in a few more minutes regarding the donations. So keep your pants on for that one.
Weird.
And while John is still looking for his paint, oh shit, the paintings. we actually have a compliment for you now.
Oh, oh no.
Yep.
That's not from
Oh
Mikey, is it?
yes.
It's not a compliment.
Oh yes. It actually is a compliment. We've never seen you mentioning daylight, Marley.
Yeah. So I've been told my garage is larger than most people's houses, or certainly Mikey's and most people's houses in the UK. So if I turn my camera around, you'll see there's a car there. So I'm in the garage. But if I walk to the other side of the garage,
Crikey.
I disappear into the background.
Yep.
So
He quite literally did that.
yeah, well, just white t-shirt and all, but yeah, it's a double garage. But then I've got an extra room before it becomes the rest of the house and all that stuff like that. But yeah, so they call it a mansion. It's not. It's just what we call a house. What I call a big mortgage. But it's fine. Quite lovely actually. We've been here probably about 8 months now, I think. So yeah,
That's
we
good.
own this house. We bought it. Well, we don't own it. You know what I mean. The
Well,
bank
in
owns
any
it.
case, David has a nice remark on that one. Didn't fancy waiting for the bus from the door to your desk.
Yeah.
Now there's an
Three,
idea.
five, two. Where's this colour? 302.
Okay. And let's get back to the donation stand. We are right now here at 247 euros 89 cents, which is a quarter of the amount that we hope to collect. That's very nice to hear and very nice to see. So we're definitely on the way of our expected target of 1,000 euros. We have the auctions for that. We have the donations for that. So people keep going for it. And let's give this season a hell of a kickoff. So very nicely done. it.
See it?
Still didn't find it?
No. Um, it's got to be here. I put it in the wrong rack. Oh,
Wait.
no. So how did that F-16? There's a Reeboks Kinetic. How did you find the kit? I've not built a Kinetic F-16. I hear they're good. Were you happy with it?
I'm very happy with it actually. It has no warping, it has no flash. The parts are in excellent condition, highly detailed. Definitely a delight to build actually. To the point that at some pieces I didn't even need glue because they have like an interlocking mechanism for certain parts, so that
Yeah.
if you would build it and you want to basically open it up, you have that opportunity. So I'm very pleased with how this kit is coming together because first of all, you get a lot of parts that are dedicated to the kit itself. So that basically means that you have the parts for every correct version of the tail. I mean, in the case of the Belgian and Dutch tails, they have that distinct stinger appearance, so that sticks out over the exhaust.
Yeah.
Um, American designs or Korean designs usually don't have the stinger, while the Danish aircraft have the stinger, but way less pronounced.
Right.
Yeah, that's one thing that you get in the kit. You also get the parts for matching the upper fuselage section, if it is an F-16B or an F-16A. There are the canopy parts for the F-16A, the F-16B, the F-16C, the F-16D, basically. You have parts to match the wingtip rails for the AIM-9 Sidewinder or for the AIM-120 MRAM, or in my case, it's going to be smoke winders because it's a solo display aircraft.
Yeah.
Uh, you have two seats for the price of one, so you have a spare. You have the fuel tanks, so that includes the belly drop tank, the wing tanks. You have so many parts that you can actually keep on the side if you ever want to build the the two-seater, which I will most likely in the future. You have other parts that you won't be using on this kit, but might be needed for other kits in the kinetic range. So you definitely get pretty much the value for which you pay. In terms of the decals are made by Cartograph. They are very, very
Mm.
good, very thin, very easy to work with. They are very effective when it comes using decal fix. So they do allow for contouring. They're very easy to cut even when wet, but they dry up very fast. So you have to keep that in mind when you place your decals. Otherwise, you're going to hit some snags. The clear parts are also very clear. You have an enormous amount of parts that you won't be needing for this kit in terms of additional positioning of lights on the aircraft, the use of LED parts and so on for the cockpit that you won't be using in this particular model. So you also have spares there as well. There also comes, because this is a gold range, a small PE set with the stiffening boards that are used on several of the midlife upgrade F-16s, with a very clear description on which stiffening plate goes where and with which aircraft they were used.
All right.
Mhm. The only thing that I found as a drawback is the fact that there is a part of the kit's construction where you actually have to use a masking sheet. Now, for reasons totally obscure, they do give you a diagram of how the masking sets must look. I'm going to show you in a minute. Uh, but they are basically based on the 1/72nd scale. So you have to augment them by taking out your ruler and make sure that you have the right dimensions to fit this on an 1/48, because it's not
Right.
match. It's like 10 pieces of masks, but you have to put them in the right place. Hold on, I'm gonna put myself on the big screen. There you go. So this section here is explaining the masking, and almost all of them, and I'm gonna bend my paper because otherwise we won't get that into view. Almost all of them are here for this lower section of the ventral section of the fuselage. And once you have done that, you basically get this end result. So the two lines that you see between the main wheelbase and the ventral fins, those are just the two lines that you actually get, as well as the two larger sections. You see them right now directly under the wing that go over into the fuselage. Those are actually the result of that masking set. All the rest of the feathers are decals or contouring. On the upper section, you don't need anything. So as you see here, it basically is decals all the way in sufficiently separate sections so that you can actually make sure that it will not overlap the wing and that you get the result that you actually hope to get. So in terms of decals, it's okay. In terms of masking, it would have benefited if it did come with the masking set intended. Now, there is a solution to that, fortunately. There is a company that will also be celebrating its 20th birthday next year, by the way, and that is Cyhard Decal in France. That offers the 148 set of this particular aircraft as well with a good masking set. So you always have that as an option. And it also will give you additional decals for most of the aircraft because the decal set actually comes with not one, but the 3 different tails that have been used by this particular aircraft. The tails that I put on there are the 2021-2022 tails, but you still have 2 more, and I'm gonna quickly pop them up. Those 2. So the one here on my finger is the 2018-2019, and then the one with the big falcon next to it is the 2019-2020. Now, as you know, 2020 was terrible in terms of the COVID-19 pandemic, so they extended the Dark Falcon's solo season, which basically gave birth to a third tail. And the third tail is also very different because on one side, I'm going to start with the starboard side. I'm going to put myself back on big screen. On the starboard side of the tail, you have this one, which basically celebrates 40 years of F-16 service in the Belgian Air Force. And the opposite tail is a reference to the F-35, which will be replacing the F-16 in about 3 years, 4 years from now.
That's
So yeah,
fantastic. It's looking really good.
yeah, considering that it's the first time that I ever did a bit of masking and that I have a bit of experience with over decaling kits, I'm
Yeah.
really happy with the result. There's only one section that I actually almost screwed up. Um, Directly behind the cockpit, there are 2 pieces of feather that actually go on both sides, but I couldn't get them aligned properly, so they're slightly offset compared to the rest of the ventral section. But by putting up the guidance decal for the airborne refueling point, you basically don't see that anymore.
I'll be back in a moment. I need to go take a comfort break. I'll be back presently. Um, I'll put my camera down on the bench though, just so you don't see my backyard. We can't; it's a bit glary, but I have a backyard. You know, so outside you'd see the stables. You know, I've got like the actual sort of the rest of the estate. We've got the gardeners, you know, a cottage and all that stuff like that. Yeah, but we'll look at the bench. I'll be back in a moment.
That's good. And while John takes a quick break, I'm gonna go through the comment sections. I put up one so that John could actually see it. I'm surprised the kid doesn't use a Segway just in case he needs to take out a sweet innocent baby wallaby on his way to the door. Well, there's a good chance that he might be able to do that, but he just fancies a good walk, and why not? And as we say that, then we have David says, "Can you swing a baseball bat?" Lomama Segway. Plus, what's the range? Would a golf cart be better to get about Marley World? Possibly, Dave. Either that or a quad bike fueled by the tears of mother wallabies awaiting the return of the young. Oh, for God's sakes, guys. Yeah, it's so environmentally sound. Absolutely, its only emissions are the souls of the fallen. Yeah, okay. I mean, if you get the right place, the right time, and the right timing, you definitely can do great deals in several countries. I mean, in Belgium, it's not much different. And I'll let you in a little secret is that I intend in about 22 years from now to definitely leave Belgium behind and move to Scotland. And I'm already looking for a home. And I found something that is basically in the dimensions of what John must have on the outskirts of Glasgow, or Glasgow, if we say it correctly. And yeah, in the price range that they are offering it, you can't even find a suitable home in a good enough condition here in Belgium. Just to paint a picture here. So yeah, it's just a matter of finding the right place and then make the most of it. Segway or no segway, quad bike or no quad bike, wallaby or no wallabies. Oh gosh, guys, you're really cracking me up. Now let's see, that one goes off. I'm gonna put water in here, and then you slide this one up here. And then I have to slide this up a bit, and then we got this in position where it is supposed to be. And in Scotland, it is indeed a closed bid system. That's correct. But I have someone who is a local that I'm very well acquainted with that is actually taking care of that for me by the time I get to that point. Like I said, it's still 22 years before my retirement. I'm first basically making sure that I'm getting all the loose ends uh, uh, tied up here as part of yeah, my divorce, my daughter. I first want to make sure that she definitely can get by on her own, and once we have that going, then I can start thinking about myself again. And there is another reason why I'm also looking forward for a bigger place. I mean, if you see that I'm building these big kits, you can start to imagine in an apartment that has 96 square meters of habitable surface that the habitable surface is suffering terribly because of the amount of model kits that are in here. I mean, if I would have to take a tour to my living room where I'm in right now, this is like the man cave section. Then I have one, two, three, four, five cabinets in that direction. I have one, two, three more cabinets in that direction. I have scale models atop of me, next to me. I have them above my TV furniture. Even have them in my room. So just to tell you, yeah, I'm basically starting to live in a miniature museum by now.
I'm back, by the way.
I noticed. Very good. Which brings me to the next comments. So I answered David's comment about the closed bid system in Scotland. And then Mikey goes, "There's a reason why we call John the Wallaby Whacker, and it isn't because he nicknamed his manhood after a small furry animal. Oh, for God's sakes, guys!"
Yeah. I don't know if you know the story
Well, actually,
about.
no.
Okay, so a year ago, or no, a few months ago now, I I drove my daughter. Well, she drove half of it, but basically from here where I am. So I'm about an hour and a half, 2 hours north of Sydney. We drove up to Townsville where she's going to university, and it's let's see, I can't remember now. I'll just Google how far away it is.
Mm-hmm.
Do. Townsville directions. There we go. 20-hour drive. It's 1,948 kilometers. Right.
Oh, for bloody hell.
So you know pretty much. Yeah, it was that far. Anyway, drove up to Townsville. Now there were floods around about the Queensland border, so we were diverted about 200 kilometres down dirt tracks and all that sort of stuff like that. And it was a bit, yeah, it's getting a bit edgy. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
so we're driving along, doing about, I don't know, 80 or so down this just dusty sort of road and all that sort of stuff. And there's a couple of wallabies on the road. And so we slowed down, doing about 30 or so, and they just sort of like, cleared the road. But then one of them just sort of came back and we drove over it. So it damaged the front of the car and, we killed it outright. We didn't go back and look. It went under, it was the center of the car. So, yeah, we've heard and felt it go under the car and everything else. And the car was a bit of a mess.
Mm-hmm.
So I mentioned that I drove over and killed a wallaby. And of course, the guys hadn't let me forget it. So they called me the wallaby whacker, and of course that leads to jokes about I had to reverse, go forward about 10 times to make sure it was dead, and while the mother of the wallaby was just watching with teary eyes, just going, "What are you doing? It's my son or daughter or whatever."
Oh my nuts.
Yeah. So recently, a couple of weeks ago, my wife flew up to Townsville and they drove back again. So the car behind me here
Mm-hmm.
is the car. So I could show you the front of it if you like, but it's well bent. um, but yeah, they hit something else on the way down. I'm not sure what it was. They're not even sure. They think it might have been a bandicoot or something or other. But it, took out half the under tray of the car, and that was rubbing on the plastic wheel arch on the driver's side, was pushing on the tire, and it roded that. So we had to change all that. So I spent about $2,000, about €2,000.
Oh God.
Uh, in the last couple of weeks, just getting that back serviceable, but it's all good. It works well. Um, you know what? I'm not going to bother with that. So I was looking for the green to redo this back wall, because this is a part I'd forgotten to. You see, it's not painted properly or whatever, and that's
Mm-hmm.
you see, I tried a different green there. I can't find the color. Anyway, what I've realised is if I throw that together, you're not going to see it anyway. It's so far back there, so I'll just not paint it, stick all this together and move on.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it. So this is the interior done. Decals, and got little sort of decals on the sidewalls here. So they're all good to go on. Actually, one thing I will do, this oxygen hose, I'll paint a darker green, like a NATO, what's this, NATO green, just to highlight it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. I see. Okay. Well,
Right.
at least I know now the story. So, Mikey, David, thank you very much for bringing that up. It's one of those freak accidents in life. I mean, I think it happened to most of us, but of course, yeah, when it happens in Australia, I can kind of imagine that it definitely gets a different vibe.
Yeah, like, yes, you can hit anything anywhere. Like we don't have moose, deer, those sort of things that some countries have. But yeah, the thing about kangaroos is that they have absolute no road sense at all. In fact, if they're sort of jumping down a road, they just get mesmerized by car headlights and they just stand staring at them and say, "Oh, they're getting closer. They're getting poof," you know.
Mhm.
The amount of dead kangaroos up and down the roads are pretty astonishing, really. I mean, we get goannas and everything else as well, but yeah, there's so many kangaroos here that's what you see most of the time.
Mhm.
So hitting one is not a surprise, really. It's just, it was a pain because, well, the car wasn't off the road, fortunately, but we were literally in the middle of nowhere.
Mhm. Yeah, I
You
can
know.
imagine, however, how that feels. Yes.
Hmm. Anyway, at least it was me driving. There we go. Okay, let's get some glue on this.
Nicely done. So what I would like to propose, John, while you're doing the glue, considering that in about an hour or two, you would be leaving anyway.
No, incorrect. I was very wrong. It's it's 6 a.m. your time.
Oh, so that's yeah, so that's in 2 hours from now in my case, yes.
Uh, must be wrong. What time are we going off here? It's 1 for 2. No, hours time. Oh, he's gone again. Yeah, about 4 hours time. Oh, wait for Dita to come back. There we go. So this fits really well.
Okay,
Here
hold
he
on a
is.
sec. Yeah, I'm back in. I'm just gonna fix the camera here for real quick because it basically just went whack again.
Hmm.
There. So the time off normally for us was about 8:30 our time. So if I add 10 hours to that, that basically means 18:30 or 6:30
Yeah,
your time.
yeah. So yeah, that's about the time I need to go. About 6 p.m. my time. So 7:30 or something like that. So no, I'm good for hours, 4 hours or so. Totally up to you. We could if you want to call it early at any time, then yeah, it's your decision.
Okay. So what I would like to suggest is that we stay around for like an hour or so, and then we just close up shop so that you can also relax towards leaving. I can take 3 hours sleep. Then I'll pop back in, start up the thing again, while you can go to the concert and be ready for handing it over to the next block by then.
Sure. Yeah. So the concert I'm saying is Bjorn Again, which is it's a ABBA sort of tribute band. I think it's their 40th anniversary or something mad.
I know them.
But
I have seen
yeah,
them in 2017 in Belgium.
yeah, right. So yeah, they're playing at my local theatre. Uh,
hmm
obviously touring around the country, but being an Australian band and all.
Yep.
There we go.
Well, in my case, my daughter tomorrow has computer lessons. She's learning how to code on a kids level. So
Oh,
if I'm not being careful, in a few years, she's going to be able to basically get my entire apartment out of whack. So I'm upping my security levels. One good thing of being an IT guy is that I at least know what to do.
yeah.
Then she has a test at the nearby swimming pool. Whoops, there goes my decal. Nearby swimming pool, so that they can determine what exactly is her skill level, and then she can join in next spring the appropriate class to get her certificates and her skill level up in terms of swimming. And to add
Yeah.
to that, while I'm trying to get my decal without bumping my head, um, and after that we have what we call a Saint Nicholas party for her with her godmother, uh, where we also stay for dinner, and that will basically cover most of the Saturday. Sunday will be rather chilly. We do have a few things coming up, but not to the point that we actually have to be around to and fro the country. Although it is enough for Nia and me to say, okay, we're gonna just pop in and pop out whenever we want or whenever we can, and
Hmm.
we adjusted the blocks to that intent because we also have St. Nicholas that is also coming to our local library, so we can actually, yeah, get that going as well while she's with me.
Good.
So yeah, we got pretty much also a good filled Saturday to go as well. Well, at least Nia is. I'm basically just driving her around.
Where are we? So, making sure I haven't forgotten anything. I don't think I have. So one of the other, I like, there's many things about this kit that I like in particular, but
Mhm.
there's one feature that a lot of manufacturers probably don't either, they're not aware of or they don't incorporate. The fin on these. Um, I mean, some P51s had like there was an extra fillet. It was a mod order that came out. So this kit, it's actually shaped like that. So it doesn't have the fillet at the base of the fin here, but the version I'm building does. So the tail sort of has more of a a leading edge on it there. Anyway, point I'm making is from the top, the fin is actually on an angle. It's canted off to the left to counteract the torque of the engine, and they've incorporated in this kit. So the forward part of the fin there is not in line with the center line of the fuselage, and that's absolutely correct. So good on your Airfix. I do have a bit of a bump there to erode, but you can see there, I think, yeah, how the fin is actually canted off true. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
designed to be like that, but yeah, that's how good this kit is.
Well, it's true what you say, John, because
Oh, he's gone again.
so I was thinking while I'm bugging my
In,
cat. Yep. Sorry, John. When you look at an aircraft like the P-51 from behind, you actually see that the tail is not sitting straight either.
yeah. And this really is a nice kit. I have built one of these a couple of years ago. This same kit, but a different scheme. I chose 3 Squadron, which is another RWS squadron that I was in. I painted it as one of theirs from the desert campaign,
Hmm.
Libya, all that stuff. Um, that came up all right. I made an like an effort. I overthought it really. I made an effort to try to get the colours of what I thought correct, but in reality, it didn't work. It looks a bit sort of subdued, and yeah, it's nice, but it's not perfect. I'd like to do it again. I probably will one day.
Hmm. I know what you mean.
Where are we? Oh yeah, so the fit on these are just really nice.
Well, I must say, since FX basically got many of their old employees back that were the heart and soul of the company in my experience, and I have to thank James May for basically pointing that out in a few of his episodes on the BBC. They have been doing a great deal of effort to get back
Yeah.
to the basics. And while I'm not too happy about the fact that they're also going in a second direction in over tooling their kits, the kits that they do tool, like this P-51, is showing that they are definitely onto the right track.
Hmm.
Uh, just that if there's one sour note that I may introduce here is that they are also chunking out model kits that offer so large a parts count that it actually makes it impossible to too difficult for people that love, like say, the new Seeking kits,
Hmm.
that they actually will pay a great deal of money for a kit that is way beyond their skill set, or that is getting so much parts for a single element that it basically negates the point of buying that kit. I mean, 9 parts simply for the main landing gear bogie times two, plus the 14 parts that you need to make the sponson. That makes for way too many parts for something that can be made much more simpler.
Yeah.
The added bonus is, of course, you can add a lot of detail without going into the aftermarket bit of the world. But on the other hand, do you really need that? Not every kit builder does. So
No.
that that's a bit of the trade-off that I'm actually not too happy about the way that they're going. And I hope that they also will keep in mind that the simple kits with a good fit and good detailing without going too much into it definitely also have their merits.
That is true. I mean, yeah, I'm well aware, of course, that most people who build models um, just do it on the side, and do it at their kitchen table, and just a bottle of paint. They don't have airbrushes or anything at all. So I'm quite keen on those sort of guys being catered to. Like some of us that do this as a hobby do, I think, get lost and expect everything to be how they want it, and that's not necessarily true. There's all skill levels that should be catered for, and there's
I
so much choice out there.
I
Yeah,
actually wrote an article on this, following one of the video bloggers that I followed, who basically made that notion and was basically comparing a great deal of watch it was making a great deal of comparisons between several brands. So he started with the new Seeking HAS 5 that was issued by Airfix not so long ago. He
yeah,
compared it with a 30-year-old version of the Seeking released by Hasegawa, and he started comparing them, and basically came down to the conclusion: okay, Airfix, you did a great job, but you exaggerated certain parts that shouldn't be exaggerated, that shouldn't be brought forward, and you
yeah.
neglected to keep things simple where you should keep them simple.
So yeah, I have a theory as well that a lot of modelers. I mean, I guess it's expectation versus reality. In that, um, let's grab my iPad here and bring up a photo as a case in point. Um, so you may or may not be aware. I think
Hmm.
some of the audience are. It's just on 2 years since I was medically discharged from Air Force. So I put a thing on Facebook the other day, just photos. Basically, shared the memory from the day that I'd left Air Force.
Hmm.
And in that reel is a picture of the F-35, which is the last aircraft I worked on.
Hmm.
But where are we? Just scrolling through the photos. There we are. So this is an actual photo of an Australian F-35.
Hmm.
Now, my point is, if you were able to totally replicate that in, say, 30-second scale, 48 scale, whatever you like, and you put it on a modeling table, obviously you won't have the exhaust shade there, but the judges wouldn't look at that because there's not enough detail there. There's not enough panel shading and everything else. But this is how they actually are when they're brand new. Like there's virtually no detail there at all. So if modelers were handed something that's that smooth,
Hmm.
F-35 by their very nature, they don't have any protruding antennas whatsoever. Every surface, every antenna is flush mounted because, of course, um, a, a blade antenna would show up on a radar.
Hmm.
Um, but that it doesn't look real, and this is the thing. So Tamiya have done an incredible job with their release, but most people, there's a lot of experts out there about F-35 should be like this, and this is how it actually is. But I'm very lucky to be up close to them and get to know them well and all that sort of stuff. And I'm certainly not a gatekeeper. My view is if you want to paint it with no detail showing, if you want to paint it filthy as, because there are photos out there of filthy F-35s, paint it
Hmm.
how you like. Just forget what anybody else expects. It's your model. You do it your way. And that's my message. It's my community service announcement.
Well, I agree with that 100%. And we also have Crazy Loka, who's also joining us, who actually is agreeing on that as well. Because, as he says, and first of all, in his case, good evening. In our because it's dead of night, if I'm not mistaken. I do appreciate the master of or expert sets and all the full details that are being offered in those, and the regular kits with realistic part counts, especially with scale specific counts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do agree with that one. And actually, I have a very nice one to emphasize that point. We have the Mini Art P47 Thunderbolt range that has been issued not so long ago, and
Yes.
you have not one, you have four different versions of the same kit. And what is the difference between the four versions is basically the amount of detail that goes into the kit and is included in the box. Now, that is not an entire success in my opinion, because some of the parts they couldn't keep out of the regular sprues, and as a result, yeah, they do end up requiring a bit more skill level than you would expect at this particular point.
Mm.
Like the engine cowling and the air intake underneath the radial engine, it's too complex for what you would expect a simple beginner or a weekend edition set, if you want, when coining an Edward phrase. But if you
Yeah.
take that down the line to to the more master or expert level kits that also come with a complete section of airstrip, by the way, then that complexity makes sense because you can work out the entire engine. You can have panels inside the wings. You have sections of the main fuselage that you can basically leave open or unbutton down, and so on and so forth. And then that particular part of the air intake underneath the cowling makes sense why it was made the way it is made. But again, it's basically the trade-off. How much detail do you want to get in your kit versus how much are you willing to pay for it?
Yes. Yes.
If you see the Korean brand Minicraft Academy, they definitely stick to that principle. They have very simple kits. They have very simple range in the means that you have a bit for everything in terms of tanks, ships, helicopters, cars, trucks, and aircraft. But the kits themselves are basically very, very basic. And while they're not perhaps the most accurate around there, they offer basically what many of the larger scale model kit manufacturers should keep in mind. That is,
Mm.
for a beginner, this is ideal, and it will also encourage him or her to start to step up and get into the aftermarket business. And then, of course, the more specialized kits. And then you can basically say, okay, in that case, we're going to do the same. We got a simple basic kit, we just built it up, like Hasegawa has been doing for years.
Yeah. Oops.
Yeah. And I must say, I also realized that with the kinetic kit that I just did, it's a very very balanced trade-off of scale appropriate detail. It has not too much a parts count. If you keep in mind that not every part will be used, of course, and the way that the construction is done makes actually sense because it basically tells you, okay, if you cut in here or if you change it in there, you can actually basically, like, let's say, have the main landing gear look like it is closing up. You can have space for a little bit of lighting in there for the formation lights and all that. They do keep that in mind. The engine intake, the engine exhaust is very nicely detailed for that scale, but not to the point that you can actually count almost every rivet in there. Just to prove a
Sure.
point.
Yeah. So, oh, that's. I'm just playing with the. These are recognition lights on the wingtip there. So
Oh, okay.
clear, red, green, and orange, and of course it painted the inside of the wing aluminium. So hopefully that shines up. Well, it's as shiny as I can make them, but yeah, they're there. Hooray!
Hmm.
Um, so case in point, we're talking about parts count and everything else. This is a mini art Flettner Calibri. Okay. The
Hmm.
trouble with this is I've lost one of the rotors. It's got two intermeshing rotors, and I've lost one. I took it to model club that I'm in, one of the meetings, and I literally lost it, and it's been gone for months now. I went back to the car park there, had a look. Anyway, um, Yeah, it's come up rather well. Let's obliterate that particular symbol on the tail there, just in case. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you can see it's quite a little complex little thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the instrument panel has fallen off because, I've got it here on my desk. Now, the thing about it is, he says, crawling across, grabbing the instructions. There we go. Mini Art Calibri. Parts count. There are, let's see, I counted them up. So you put the individual push rods on the engine. So there's 2 per cylinder and there's 9 cylinders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, 7 cylinders. So 14 of those. And then anyway, you put it all together. There
Mm-hmm.
are 35 parts on the engine. And then on this side of the firewall, there's 31 parts of the gearbox assembly. So this is it. So there's close to 60 odd parts,
Mm-hmm.
but they're all under that cover there, and you don't see any of them because the engine is hidden on this. So you do have an option of pulling off the side cowls and all that stuff. In fact, I'll do that and show you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all in there, but you don't see it. What you do see is I had to. There we go. I've got 4 of those little sinkers in there to try to keep the nose wheel on the ground because, as you can see, there's no weight at the front, big tail at the back. So I'd filled up every cavity, like the gearbox, the engine, the back of the seat, the front wheel. Every
Mm-hmm.
little space has got liquid gravity in it, and it still wasn't enough. And I still had to put 4 of these under the engine in the bottom of the cowl to keep the nose on the ground. Um, Great kit, hell of a challenge because it's fiddly as all get out, but it's an awesome little thing. I did it very clean because I would have been. But there we go. So I love Mini Art for having the parts count they do,
Mm-hmm.
knowing full well that I'm not the average modeler. You know, I think people, if they reach for a Tamiya tank as opposed to a Mini Art tank, yeah, you can have less parts. The fit is spectacular with both brands, but if you want less parts, you ask somebody and I'll point you in a direction of what you'd want. There's something out there to satisfy all of us, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, a problem that I'm also seeing with this is that some brands basically price themselves out of the market because of their highly specialized kits. I think the phrase that was used by the guy was that what you see on many of the larger scale model shows is aircraft.
Oh, his mic's dropped out. Can you hear us, Data? Data's muted. I think he doesn't realise that he's gone. Well, I'm hoping maybe it's my end. Can the audience? There he is. He's gone again. Yep. Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Okay. You're back now. Yeah. So you were muted for a while, and then you dropped out totally. You there? No, he's gone again. Oh, he's having internet troubles clearly. But reading the comment there, Crazy Locha, Mr. Marley, and that perspective is why you stick it out through your hardships, and we're willing to share with us. You're a blessing to the community. Oh, thank you, Crazy Locha. That's very, very kind words. And again, thank you very much for your donation a year ago. The raffle was a sorry, an Edward Donya 17Z. That was an amazing thing you did there, and it's been finished. It's been built. I actually swapped it for another kit with a friend of mine, and he built it. It's sitting in a museum actually, which is why that happened. It's well, this aircraft. I finished this one recently. It's I built the kinetic version of sorry, the kinetic. Oh no, Qatari Spitfire. As that one there, the pilot of that one was an Australian, and he flew into the back of one of the Doinia 17s. Anyway, my friend, we swapped it for another kit. He's built that as the aircraft that he's flown into and killed, and it's sitting in the museum where that actual aircraft is now. So that was, I think, the best place for it. So thanks again.
Thank you, John. I'm back, and yeah, I think I found out what exactly is wrong with the bloody thing. So I'm gonna reboot in about half an hour my computer so that I'm
Sure.
ready to pick up later on. Basically, what happened? One of my cats actually pulled the cable from between my computer and the USB hub so hard that it kind of bent. So I rebent it,
Oh,
I put it back in, and this should actually do it. But I'm gonna reboot the computer anyways in order to make sure that all the settings are still correct. But for the time being, I should be okay.
wonderful. Strong cat.
Yeah, well, the cat in question is the little red one that you saw on my shoulder a few times.
Yeah.
And while he's not very heavy, he's pretty muscular and very strong for being 9 years old and of a slender build. But when he sticks himself to something, he definitely sticks to something. And as I stepped back in, you were basically answering Crazy Locha's inquiry. So I'm going to walk through the comments to augment to that. Because Mikey says, well said, Locha, for all the ribbing I give Marley, I consider myself incredibly fortunate to count him as one of my best friends. He's a wonderful guy with a big heart and a good soul, and
Ah,
I can concur to that. I don't have the pleasure of speaking with John often, but when we do, it's always a delight in both
oh, it
directions.
really is. Yeah. Well, thanks everyone. Yeah, but yeah. I'll be sending money in. Oh, there's a fly hanging around. I'll be sending money to everybody in the mail as a thank you for this.
Nice.
As
Uh,
we organised earlier.
yes, quite so. A good example is the difference between the RFM AFV armor kits versus simpler Tamiya. Great for different skill levels and details. Yes, but the problem is that in some cases we also have brands that bring out that specific version that you want and only do it in the super detailed range.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to build every F-14 squadron at least once in a Tomcat, and in some cases I just can't because the decals are not available for it, or the kit that does allow it is yeah, pretty much out of my price range.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bit of a trade-off, I know. Meanwhile, we also have David that is saying to Mikey that he's sleep typing, to which Mikey replies, I love the guy, not dream of him, Dave.
Ah,
Yeah, and then yeah, so I already explained this one. No, I did not unplug my mic. Basically, my cat did. Yeah. And then on your story about the Dornier D17, I remember that one that was sent to you. That you commented on it, that you were really surprised by it, and that you enjoyed it. Which says Crazy Locha. Okay, that's all I wanted to know. That you enjoyed it. All for great causes, he says. And then he basically jabs me one. Lover Masters the cats.
yeah.
Yeah, I used to have six. Like 2 years ago, I'm now down to four because two of them died because of their age. Even though, yeah, 10 years, you might say, okay, that's not very old for a cat, but for a Maine Coon, that's pretty old. I still have one left, so she's holding on, mailing.
Hmm.
Um, I have my two gray ones that you don't see walking around because they're pretty shy. That are Harry and Hermione, and you couldn't have much more stereotypical British short hairs, even if you wanted to. I mean, they have like golden eyes, they have the gray fur, and they're so close in fur that I had a lot of trouble distinguishing which one was which one. And there was two options. Either I looked for differences in their fur pattern, or
Yeah.
I had to lift their tail every time and see what exactly is what. Luckily for me, the fur pattern had significant distinctions, so I didn't have to go for for the latter solution. Uh, David then asks, "Wasn't I dreaming of Marley, a TV show?" No, that was I Dream of Genie. To which we have a chuckle from Mikey.
Yeah, well.
All right.
So Crazy Locha, I'm not sure if you're aware. Bearded Veteran Creates is a guy, one of my best friends called Mikey. He has a channel, obviously called Bearded Veteran Creates, and I team up with him at the moment 3 days a week, doing live streams, builds, buddy builds, and all that sort of stuff like that. Me, Mikey, and Gary call ourselves three veterans. One's in England, one's in Wales, one's in Australia, and yeah, we just over a 2 hour sort of build session. We just sort of talk and joke and all that sort of stuff like that. So if you would like to make your way over to Bearded Veteran Creates on YouTube and hit that subscribe button, I'm sure he'd love you for it. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure he will.
And I'm still, of course, well, not only a presenter for Models for Heroes live streams. I'm now an actual official Models for Heroes volunteer as well. So that's nice. I'm quite proud of my association with them and the work they do, as I am with the Scale Models for Veterans. This fundraiser here.
Mm-hmm. And David continues by saying, "At this time of night or day, almost everything is funny." And on
It's
a more
true.
serious note, Crazy Locha says, "I will make it a point to visit." He also announced earlier in the marathon that he is intending, planning, considering to come to Europe, and then he should like to meet most of us, if not all, and if possible in the appropriate setting. So that basically means a venue like Plastic and Steel in Belgium, or a scale model challenge in Veldhoven, or perhaps both.
Amazing.
Yeah. Would look forward to that. And then Crazy Locha says, "I'm actually shocked and confused. I presumed I was already subscribed." And
Oh,
now
okay.
I think that you are indeed subscribed to his channel, but you can be a super subscriber now. If you go to Mikey's channel, it basically shows what additional options you have. So that's perhaps also one that you could consider if you want.
It is, I've got to admit, rather wonderful to have friends literally around the world, all with the same interests and stuff like that. Sort of meeting up, having a bit of a yarn. It's just, it's very, very cool.
I agree.
Okay.
And then Mikey says, "John, thanks, buddy. Wales, yes, that reminds me, John. Dieter acknowledges that Wales is a country in its own right. I like Dieter now too, lol. Not to the point that he finally notices, no. How shall I say this? Not notices, but has had the chance to actually see who I am, and to find out that I'm also a bearded guy. Well, that basically cemented the deal."
Oh, of course. I had failed to mention that.
Yeah, we were basically talking at the last block together with Malcolm about what are the advantages and disadvantages of having a long beard, and what happens if we shave it off,
Yeah.
and why we don't do that. So it was a little funny and such a great moment. And
Alrighty.
Crazy also notices, I will definitely consider it, Dieter. Most welcome, my friend. Most welcome. Okay. So we have like 18 minutes to go before I will extend the break for 2 hours, given that it is really, really calm. So, guys, it's not that we don't love you hanging around, but I have been up from 2 a.m. yesterday until now. So I'm gonna take the opportunity of getting a bit of sleep, allow for John to wind down and get ready for his concert, and I will be back at 7 our time, so that will be 2 hours from now. So don't you worry about it. And I will be happy to pick back up the thread where we left it off. Uh, uh, and while I have said that, I also announced that to the other show host. While we also have a very, very compelling argument why we shouldn't shave our beard off in my mind.
Oh, that's funny.
So, John, that basically means that you have to join the beard club.
Well, yeah, not the yeah. I did have a beard. I think about last Christmas. Um,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Oh,
pull
yes,
up
yes,
a.
yes. I remember that. I remember that.
Um, so there we go. This is my Facebook. So I've got a poor wallaby. That's
Yeah,
a yellow-footed rock wallaby, and a picture of me with a beard. See
yeah.
profile picture.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually suited you.
Yeah, it just got itchy, so I just got rid of it.
Hmm.
Let's try this.
Meanwhile, Crazy Locha says, I already had my typical 3 naps today already. Yeah, well, I'm not there yet. I took like one power nap while I was waiting for Nia to exit school, which took me like 20 minutes, so that's not really much. I took 15 minutes waiting for joining the live stream, and not that I was lying down when suddenly Miranda asked if I could step in a bit sooner because she was heading off to bed. And yeah, with the admins requiring an access code, it was a good thing that I was available on hand
Hmm.
so that I could actually step in. So a little reminder to the admins is to check with Miranda to have this fixed. So what I would like you to do, John, is the
Yeah.
following. As soon as I close off this conversation in 17 minutes, is the time that you see that Miranda is online before you head off to bed, is that you ask her for such a code. You just pop in real quick, you pop back out. That way, you will have the admin access also ready for the next time that you have a block,
Certainly.
if you want, of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so no, keep going.
No, no, go on, go on.
No, no, read the comments.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in a partial clock flip and partial multi-short nap mode. Okay. And Chris Lodja adds, those don't count unless you get time to snore loud enough to wake up the dog. Yep, there we
Oh
go again.
yeah.
There we go again with the dog with the dog puns. um, yeah, there's one thing that you should know about me, and then I'm gonna give the floor back to John. I am actually a fibromyalgia patient, so that means that when my body asks me to literally take a break, I have to obey to it as best as possible, and that could last like 10 minutes or 10 hours. And because I have been living with this condition for almost 17 years so far, apparently, I have been able to regulate my sleeping pattern to a point that I can actually extend it or shorten it at will almost. But that is not a conclusive science. And at some occasions, I just have to keep in mind I have to give my body a chance to recuperate.
Yeah,
So,
right.
power naps don't really work for me.
So what I was going to say before, Dieter, is if you wanted to head off to bed, being in the middle of the night over there and everything else, I could continue the stream, but that won't work because I wouldn't have access to bring up comments and everything else. So we might as well sign off.
Yeah. Otherwise, I would have been happy to hand it over to you until Miranda is back. But yeah, that would still leave a gap for like 2 hours, and this way we can. How shall I put this? Serve both our causes and give everyone
Yeah,
also a chance to catch a breath.
exactly. Yeah. What a nice
Crazy
kid.
Locho, by the way, also says Fridays are my multi-nap sleep catch-up day off typically. While John also mentions how much he likes this kit, and he's right, because this is really one of the better kits that Airfix made. To the point that if you're gonna look back to this video, he makes a very nice presentation of that. Okay, continue with the comments. Body tells you break time. I'm familiar. Had a girlfriend with a severe case, so there you go. David says my situation is similar to different medical condition but similar rules. Then we have Crazy Locha that says all good notifications are on, of course. Perfect.
Hmm.
Yeah. So in my case, it is also costing me one of my larger passions, and that's firefighting. So I have asked to resign my
Oh,
commission by January of 2025. Unfortunately, I have to because my physical and mental condition just doesn't allow it anymore to work on this at the level that I intend to. But by doing this, I still will have the ability of serving as a contractor. So that means that I won't be doing the firefighting stuff anymore, but I could still be of service whenever they need it, in terms of, like, say, dispatch, in terms of IT issues, or simply because they need somebody that can do instructions. So I gave that a lot of thought in the last few months, and I basically said, let's go for that because it will allow me to stay in touch with it and keep my firefighting skills on par for working at my daytime job, and at the same time also allow me to give myself the necessary mental and physical rest that I'm gonna need so hard in the coming years, given that Nia is almost 9, and that basically means the preteens are coming around the corner.
yeah. There we go. Stay there.
I mean, John, when you're gonna see her, you're gonna be shocked because she has
Oh, I'm
changed.
sure. Yeah.
She has changed so
Well,
dramatically already, even from my perspective.
it's been a full year since I've seen her. Yeah.
Hmm.
Oop, dog barking next door.
Well, she's participating, by the way, in the 48 hours build. She's doing two characters from Game of Thrones. So she took the theme quite literally.
Right.
Okay. Meanwhile, I was able to finish my F-16, so she's done. The only thing that I'm still got to do is give her a gloss coat. I'm gonna do that tomorrow, so I'm just gonna let her relax now. But I'm really happy with how she looks, so I'm gonna pop in the big screen for really quick. Hold on, there we go,
Hmm.
and then I can basically show you what it became.
Wow, that is amazing.
Mhm. And just a testimony of how much out of the box beauty you get from the kinetic kit. Now, there's one thing that I did change, however, and Mikey knows what I'm talking about, um, because I always add a personal touch to any kit that I build. And what I actually did, so I'm gonna put the wing up so that you can see the two ailerons, and you see on the left aileron, which is on your right, you see the Belgian tricolor, while you see on the other one is a different flag. That's the Dutch flag. Now, the reason that I have done this is because the Netherlands have set their farewells to the F-16 in September 27th, so they're now completely F-35, with the F-16s gradually being transferred to Ukraine and other countries. And as a sort of tribute, I basically added the Dutch flag to this configuration, even if the 2020-21 22 version never flew with the flags like this on her ailerons.
Oh,
Yeah. There is a small section of masking that had to be done, and I'm really happy that I was able to get this right, and that I have such a beautiful kit, even with the small mistake I made. A small smudge that happened also to be on the canopy, but it's so insignificant that I'm just gonna leave it like it is. You even have the name of the pilot on the canopy, which says Vador. And for the people who don't know what that is, it's basically how Vader, like Darth Vader, is spoken in French, which is the
okay.
nickname of the pilot. And just for the record, on the ventral fins, there is a silhouette of the helmet of Vader also included as a nice personal touch. And I didn't even know it was there until I saw the kit itself.
Hmm.
So it goes to show that there's some things that you just keep missing because you don't know that they're there. So really great kit, really happy how this is finished. So that one's done. And now I have to remember where I put my boat. Oh, there it is. So that I can continue with this Arctica next on. The rudder, by the way, is still sitting on loose, so that I still have room to put in the propeller. And the propeller is a piece of art itself, because the propeller is 5 pieces. And of the two main shafts, there comes the basically propeller shaft itself, which is another 6 pieces. So yeah, a bit over tooling, but on the other hand, you can basically build the propellers to match your position, because all the blades can turn in reality.
Right.
Yeah, that's to avoid that you would hit the ice.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
Mm. So a really nice touch by Zvezda. So that's one I'm definitely looking forward to building, and that will be my next step. So with that said, I'm gonna hand over to John real quick, so that he can show you what he has been doing to this nice kit of his of the FX P51 Mustang. John, all yours.
Right. Well, very quickly before I go on to this, I'll show you what other things I've been working on in the background. So this is my daughter's car. So this is a Honda Jazz. Now the number plates, what I'm going to do is photograph her actual number plates and then stick them on here. So there's a couple of bits of just dirtying it up I need to do. But yeah, my daughter's car was in an accident a couple of years ago, so it has a different color front bumper and a different color quarter panel. But the rest of it looks exactly like this. So there's that. That's a Tamiya kit, and that was a pleasure to build. Find a place to put that. Right.
Nice.
On the side, I'm also doing for myself a Bristol Bulldog Airfix one. This is a 48 scale one, so there's not much to show, but basically the fuselage is together. I've got a bit of masking in there or whatever, so I can redo this chrome and fix up the seam on top there. So it's polished aluminium there, and I bought a bottle of flat aluminium to do the rest of it. We'll see how that goes. So really enjoying that. And with Mikey and Gary, we're building a Fokker D7. This one here, Edward, 48 scale Fokker D7. and there's not much to show in there. However, so I've got things to go together to the floor, engine, seat. This is all the photo etch and all that sort of stuff. The instrument panel has little switches on it, wood grain, and yeah, see, collector tank for the rounds and all that sort of stuff. So there's lots of little bits. I'll put them back there. So that's coming together. Really enjoying that. So as far as this one is concerned, so where are we? So I started at 7:30 Friday evening Sydney time, doing this kit. I'm just looking for a photo. I don't have it there. It must be on the iPad. Basically, I was just took photo to prove what I was up to. But yeah, so I've got 48 hours to build this, and this is where we are. So I could take all these clamps off now. So I've just put the wing on. The interior is done now. Let's see if I can focus. Dark enough, but you can see that. So now it's just building up like a standard kit. Of course, the rest of it, ailerons, flaps, the horizontal stab rudder, elevators, and all that sort of stuff. And then paint that all silver. So the scheme I'm going for looks pretty much like that. But I'll be doing a red, white, and blue spinner. And bring up the photo. Bear with me. So I'm going for winter is coming as the theme. So I'm doing a Mustang, an Australian Mustang 77 squadron from the Korean War. So my spinner, it'll be like that one there. It's upside down, but you get it. Red, white, and blue spinner, and standard, just Australian scheme, which is boring as all get out. Just no serials, just the roundels and everything else. So that's what I'm aiming for. Winter is coming, a Korean War RAF 77 squadron P51. So that's me.
Fantastic, John. Thank you. There is one question that Mikey still would like to ask to you, John. Have you not got a spare kangaroo decal you could put on that fucker?
No, I don't. No, I'll just go ahead and collect one. Got a knife. I'll just go and get one.
Nice.
Nah,
Okay, folks.
I love animals. I really do. They're tasty.
Same here. But I still thank them for what they give us so that we can sustain ourselves, and that in turn protect their own legacy. Basically, the concept of a circle of life, and that we have to keep in mind that life is precious, no matter how you look at it.
It is. Yeah.
Even if it serves to feed one another.
Yeah. Amazing place we live in, this planet.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are. So it won't be pretty soon. This will, be, as I say, ready for. I'm not going to prime it because I'll be using AK Interactive, the Extreme Metal paint range, those sort of ones. So this one here, in fact, being black, the base is a gloss black. It's a primer as well. So I'll be doing that, and then different coats of different flavors of aluminium and do all that sort of stuff. Because it is quite interesting. Like these aircraft in reality were puttied wings. So again, I'll change my camera. So this is, we're talking about detail and how some people get really, what I love about this hobby is you can choose yourself how deep to dive or how shallow to dive. It's, it's your model, your rules. But this wing on this one, I'm trying to get it. No, too much glare. But it's got lovely sort of rivets, not coming up. There's rivets everywhere and all that sort of stuff. But in reality, these wings don't have anything on them. They were puttied, except for where the fuel tank is on that panel there. But if they molded this exactly as the aircraft are in real life, people would say, no, this doesn't have enough rivet detail and everything else. And yeah, this is the thing. I'm not going to putty it or anything at all because, well, I've got 48 hours. I'm not going to go that far into it. And second of all, nobody cares. You know, but yeah, I love the fact that, like, a lot of time I choose to put extra detail in kits just because I want to, because I can. And yeah, not everyone has to. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
there
your
we are.
model. It's your model. You have to be satisfied with it in the first and foremost place. So
Exactly.
if that is done, then all the rest really doesn't matter.
Exactly. There we are.
Okay. So Crazy is thanking us for sharing that. That's our pleasure. And at the same time, uh, he is curious about the paint range. Looking forward to seeing how you do with it. Now I know AK Interactive is really good stuff. I have a lot of bottles of them nowadays. I also have the real color pens, which are also a delight to
Hmm.
use.
So
So
grab something.
yeah, you're gonna be really amazed by just how beautiful that work does, if you do it, of course, the right way.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
So you were saying the AK, a really good range of pens.
Yeah, I acquired the real color paint pens during my stint at Euroscale Modeling. The range is it's not large. I'm gonna be honest. They're still expanding on it, but they offer a basic set of paint pens, literally, that you can use to touch up your model and to make small corrections that otherwise you would have to come out with a paintbrush or an airbrush. And I'm gonna tell you, I used it on this particular kit that I did of the F16, and it
Hmm.
works really well. It just used flat white so that I could basically cancel out all the mistakes that I made. And okay, it takes like 4 or 5 coats of that because it's such a thin stroking that gives to it. But because of the high level of precision and control that you get of it, it works fantastic as a touch-up weapon.
Yeah, would. Um, so as the base of this scheme I've chosen is an aftermarket decal set for swap camera again, a BCOF, which is a British Commonwealth Occupation Force of Japan. Um, immediately after World War II. So yeah, obviously Australia were there with Mustangs and everything else. They'd gone up through Papua New Guinea and basically ended up in Japan after the war. And these are it's a aftermarket decal set from Red Roo models of aircraft, the BCOF. Now the aircraft that are 77 Squadron, these ones here, made their way over from um, Japan. Those, yeah, they're based at Iwakuni in Japan. They made their way from there over to the Korean Peninsula before they moved and stayed there. Originally, what they were doing is long range ferries. Um, so this has got ideas how to paint it. And you can't really see the difference, but they are different, like the top and bottom ones. And what it's saying is these aircraft were unpainted aluminium except for the wings and fabric covered rudder, which are finished with an aluminium lacquer. Um, yeah, but then I've got other. Uh, I haven't got it here, but I've taken photo of the Edward instructions for their P51, and they go into quite a bit of detail about what sort of shade. I'll just bring it up. Um, Here we go. So this is because the one I'm doing would have been an American built Mustang that went across, and I had a discussion with Mikey last night. There is a difference between the Australian built ones and the American built ones in terms of detail, but this has got all different sort of little panels, different colours, and all that sort of stuff. And they're using silver, superfine silver, and super iron for different panels. So what I'm going to be doing is picking up those details, those panels, get a little bit of difference there. So using this is extreme metal black base as a primer, but then in no particular order, I've got aluminium, white aluminium, uh, dark aluminium, duraluminum, um, steel, and matte aluminium. So with all these colors, and there's probably not much difference between them. Duraluminum, as you can see, has a lot more gold in it. So I'm not going to be using that. However, I have used that for radiators. But different panels will have different shades of these aluminiums on them, and hopefully it'll look okay. We'll see how it goes. I've used a polished aluminium, which isn't here. That's another one I have. So I've got almost a full range of the aluminium colors. I also do blue aluminium and red aluminium and stuff for exhaust nozzles and that jet exhaust. I don't need that, but yeah, this one will be done in these paints. Now these are the ones. They don't come with mixing balls, but I put them in there, and one of these shattered last year. You'd remember well. So these are the AK paint mixing balls. Yeah, so that's what's in there, and one of these shattered last year and sprayed me head to toe in aluminium. I've still got aluminium on a lot of things around here. Paints everywhere.
Yeah, that
It's
was
terrible.
definitely a terrible yet hilarious accident.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
shit, a
it
paint
stung.
bottle.
The joke that keeps on giving.
Yes. Okay, so the final comments for now. I'll be around all day Saturday too, so we can let DJ sleep. Thank you very much. I tend to add the mixing bolts too, he says. So that's really good to know. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate your understanding and, of course, the support that you have been giving us so far. I'll be back in about an hour or two, so I hope to see you there as well. John, which gives me the pleasure of giving you a thank you for joining and making this a delight as always, and enjoy your
Hmm.
concert later on tonight.
Thank you, Dieter. It's been a pleasure as always. Thank you, everyone in the chat. It's always good to meet up with you guys online.
All right, I'm gonna do the end video now. Now you're gonna see this twice in this block because I'm gonna do, of course, the start video again the moment that we're gonna be live, so that we can correct the little mistake of earlier. So enjoy the show and see you in 2 hours. Bye.